Today, I'm making the most iconic foods, mini and giant, and testing if I can dunk, bite, or pick them up without them falling apart. And every time I fail, you win $100. We'll start with the iconic cake pop. It's small, perfect, but one bite is never enough. So what if we supersized it? Of course, we're gonna have to start by making some cake, so I'm just using good old funfetti that I'm gonna doctor up to make it better. I'm gonna dump my cake mix into a bowl along with some milk, melted butter, eggs, a little bit of yogurt to make it nice and moist. This will make it taste more like the bakery. I'm not sure we have enough sprinkles in here, so let's make it a party. That's more like it. I'm gonna pour the cake batter into my pan and then we're gonna bake it up. And our cake is done. So while it's cooling, let's make our frosting. But it's not gonna be spread on the cake like a normal cake. It's gonna be the glue that holds the cake pop together. So I'm just gonna mix some butter, powdered sugar. It's a messy job, but someone's gotta do it. A little bit of salt, vanilla, and a splash of milk, and cream it all together. But I think it's missing something. More sprinkles. Now here comes the best part. We get to crumble all of this into this bowl. Just rub it against each other like this. So satisfying. It appears that my bowl is too small to transfer this inside, so I'm gonna have to go back and forth, transferring some cake into the frosting, mixing it, and mixing the whole thing back into this bowl. Oh, it is working like glue. And my cake pop might end up being as giant as this bowl. I gotta somehow figure out how to make this nice and round. But let's make our mini one first. Mini foods are always so cute. And the rest, I have to figure out how to clamp into this mold. It would be way more impressive if I could roll it into a giant ball. Oh my gosh, this is pretty giant. I am not sure how my stick is gonna be able to hold this up. But one fail for me equals money for you. Oh, it's so heavy. This is like a bowling ball the size of my face. So I just have to chill it real quick before we dip it in the candy coat. So in the meantime, I think we're gonna move on to our next giant treat. Pop-Tarts, dessert disguised as breakfast. Each pack comes with 2 little pastry pies like this, where you're supposed to be able to toast it up. I'm always surprised by the fact that the icing never melts as hot as it is right now, but inside this Pop-Tart is an ooey gooey strawberry filling. Somehow it's just not as good as I remember it being when I was a kid. So you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna supersize it and make it taste a lot better. So to a food processor, I'll add some flour, salt, and sugar. And to give it a real buttery flavor, we're gonna add chunks and chunks of butter. Okay, I just need to process it real quick, and then we're gonna add some ice water to glue it all together. Another blitz until it balls up together, and that was literally it. Making pie dough is so easy. So now I'll just have to dump out the dough, wrap it up, and let it chill in the freezer for about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, now I'm gonna roll it out, but first I gotta dust my surface. So for it to be giant, I gotta make it count. I'm gonna quadruple it in size. Okay, I think this is big enough, so I'm gonna cut the dough and then put it onto my baking sheet. But now I have to trim it into a nice rectangle. But before we do anything else, I gotta add my jam filling. This is my favorite jam, and we're just gonna spread a nice filling inside. I feel like that's a generous amount of filling. Hopefully it doesn't run off when I bake it. And now I'm gonna close my Pop-Tart with the other pie dough and then trim off any excess. So on the original Pop-Tart, the seams are just kind of mechanically crimped together, but I think we're gonna crimp ours with a fork to make it look extra rustic. I feel like it looks better this way anyways. And then it looks like their Pop-Tart has little holes. I'm just gonna take my skewer and poke some air vents. That looks pretty good. And now it's time to bake. Our giant Pop-Tart is done, except now I have to let it cool all the way before I add that beautiful white glaze, which is also super simple. It's just a mix of powdered sugar, some cream, and a little bit of vanilla extract. Yes, it is so thick like glue. Our Pop-Tart is all the way cool, so now I'm gonna slather our glaze right on top, and then I'll add some colorful sprinkles just like theirs. Hit it with some pink, then some green, and I don't have yellow, so just orange. Everything is assembled and done. Now let's compare our original Pop-Tart to our mini Pop-Tart, and then we got the big daddy. So if this is the giant and this is the tiny, then this is literally just mid. It's full of filling, and the pastry is so much better. 10 out of 10. The tiny ones are also easy, but can I pull off more giant ones? Keep watching, because each food gets bigger than the last, and I might go bankrupt. These are my favorite gummy bears. They're not too big, not too small, not too soft, not too hard. But my favorite thing about it is that it comes in this blue raspberry flavor. But the problem is, it's a very rare color, and each bag only comes with a few, as you can see my sample here. So let's supersize it. So I found out to make your own giant gummy bear, you have to use an absurd amount of gelatin. So I'm gonna add my water into the pot first and then sprinkle some regular gelatin. Okay, I have to bloom my gelatin first. It's already super thick. And then to give it that blue raspberry flavor, berry blue jello. I feel like water to gelatin ratio is quite small. It smells like cough syrup. But you know what kind of gummies I really love? Are sour gummies. So I think I'm gonna add a hint of citric acid in the whole mix just to make it interesting, and hopefully it doesn't ruin the whole structure of the gummy bears. It's starting to mix, and I'm supposed to let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then we turn on the heat. Now we have to heat it up until it's like a paint-like consistency. Okay, it's starting to come together, and that was pretty fast. I don't know why, but there's like a foam layer right on top, and that's not how gummy bears normally look. But before I add any of this mixture to our giant gummy bear, let's make our tiny ones. And the rest goes into our big mold. I'm gonna oil the mold. Get the hand base. That's where I feel like it might get stuck. Now let's pour this in. But now I have to let them cool for 5 minutes before chilling them and letting them set overnight. And now it's time for our giant gummy bear reveal. I added a little tail in the back. Just kidding, something sat on top of it in the fridge. So hopefully it comes out of the mold in one piece. I'll take it down like a sock. Oh God! Base, most important part. Ta-da! Oh my gosh, that is so cute. Except now it's stuck to my counter. Hold on. Okay. Ta-da! Definitely feels a lot firmer than a normal gummy bear. We also have our mini gummy bear to unveil. Oh, is this not the cutest little thing ever? Let's compare them to our original. It's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and I'm Goldilocks. It's definitely chewy. I would say this one worked, and I'm not losing any money. 10 out of 10. There's a sour kick in here too. Now we have some sushi, and as far as sushi rolls go, spicy tuna is my favorite. This is gonna be a challenge because the rice is on the outside. So here goes nothing. I have some freshly cooked sushi rice that I'm just gonna add to this giant bowl. Kind of fluff it up a little bit with this sushi vinegar. I'm just gonna sprinkle and hopefully not crush the grains. Okay, I hate to say this, but buying small sushi is not cheap. Making a giant sushi is also not cheap. This is like $40 worth of tuna. So I'm just gonna slice it into smaller chunks, and because spicy tuna is kind of mashed up, I'm gonna break it down even further in my food processor. I'll leave mine semi-chunky. Okay, now in the same bowl, I'm gonna make my spicy tuna filling. We'll just add some Kewpie mayo, sriracha, a little bit of sesame oil, and I like to add some ponzu, which is like a citrusy soy sauce. Let's mix it up. That looks so good. I mean, the resemblance is uncanny. Most spicy tuna rolls come with some cucumber, but an even better spicy tuna roll will have avocado. So let me prep those real quick. I'm actually gonna have to use saran wrap to guide me because I don't have a sushi mat this big, and I kind of want it the length of the cucumber. Let me wet my hands. Now I'm gonna plop the rice onto the saran wrap and spread it out. Let me put this here as my guide. I feel like that's a lot of rice. Soon it's gonna be a sushi burrito. A sushi burrito. You know what I forgot to put down? There's like an outer layer of sesame seeds. Shoot. Now we have my nori sheets. 4x4. Layer my cucumber, avocado, and then add all of our spicy tuna in there. This is the most spicy tuna I have ever seen, and it's amazing. And now we roll. Here we go, here we go. Please work. Oh gosh. How am I supposed to contain all that spicy tuna? And you're standing in the way of me losing another $100. I gotta cut it out. Okay, here we go. Did we actually do this? Hopefully it doesn't fall apart, but I'm gonna wrap it up. Okay, but before we move on, I have to take care of something else. Let's cut it. And just like my spicy tuna rolls here, I'm gonna lay mine down on the cutting board. Oh my gosh, it looks so cute. Massive. Like I said, the resemblance is uncanny, if not better because there's avocado, but my mini one's a little sad. But the real challenge wasn't if I can make it. The real challenge is to see if I can pick it up with chopsticks without it falling apart. Oh gosh. I thought I was gonna lose this challenge, but so far, so good. The sushi burrito is amazing, but something this big should be eaten with my hands. 9 out of 10. We all know the famous Oreo, this iconic cookie sandwich that has a cream center that's perfect dunked in milk. They made my job easy since they already have mini Oreos, but I've never seen a giant size one, so we're gonna make it. I have some flour here, and I get that iconically dark cookie. I'm gonna use this cocoa I found that has black cocoa. Add some salt to the mix. Now let's make our cookie dough. So an Oreo has like a crispiness to it, so I gotta make sure mine is just as crunchy. Okay, now I'm gonna whip up some butter and powdered sugar, and I'm not using regular sugar because I need it nice and crispy, so we're gonna use powder. And then once it's all nice and fluffy, we're gonna add in our dry ingredients, and I'm gonna add some vanilla and a little bit of milk to get things going. I need the big machine for this. This cookie's gonna be so big, my machine can barely handle it, but the good news is the dough looks pretty black. It's all stuck at the bottom. So since an Oreo has these ridges, I'm not gonna do it by hand. I'm gonna cheat and put them into these tart pans. This is pretty giant, right? Now I'm gonna press the dough down until it's nice and flat. The warmth of my hand is actually making the dough a lot easier, and it feels like Play-Doh. That was a workout. Before I bake them though, I have to poke some holes with my giant fork just to make sure it doesn't puff up. Now to make that perfect cream filling, I'm gonna start by whipping some butter. I used an entire box of butter just to make this one giant cookie. Slowly add my powdered sugar, and finally hit it with a little bit of salt, vanilla, and some milk to get it nice and spreadable. My cream filling has more of a yellow tint to it, but I feel like that's okay. Perfectly thick and spreadable. Okay, but now on second thought, I don't trust myself to just spread this on the cookie. I'm gonna actually put it in this cake mold that's gonna fit beautifully inside the cookie. Making giant things are so hard. Maybe that's why we've never seen a giant Oreo before. I'm gonna freeze this. Okay, my giant cookie is done and it looks pretty good. I've also let it cool completely so it doesn't melt the frosting. Yay! Looks like it'll fit perfectly. Unless you're rooting for me to fail. But that's okay, because then we all win. Oh yeah! I'd say so. That looks so good. Oh my gosh! Please don't break. Please don't break. Please don't break. I always twist my Oreos to make sure the cream filling is like there. So let's do a quick comparison. Here's our Oreo. Here's the regular sized Oreo. I mean, that looks pretty small. But then here's their mini Oreo. They look like little planets. But making it was not the true test. Now I have to see if I can dunk it in some milk without it falling apart. I don't have a glass big enough for this giant Oreo. We're gonna have to do a bowl. It's heavy. It's so heavy. Ta-da! Let me soften it up. I can barely get enough milk in there. It's got that crumbly texture like an Oreo, and the cream filling is so good. I was able to dip it. It stayed together without breaking, so I'm gonna give this to me. 9 out of 10. Okay, I think our cake pop has firmed up. Oh yeah. It is so heavy, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna get it to stand up on the stick. Either way, now I have to coat it. I have 2 pounds of this pink candy melt, and I have to make sure that I put it in a bowl that's big enough to hold our cake pop ball. But to make sure that it's a nice dippable consistency, I need to add a little bit of oil. Okay, as it's melting, it's shrinking down a lot. Now I'm a little nervous that we don't have enough to coat our giant cake pop. But let's start by dipping our tiny cake pop. I've seen people dip the stick in the candy coating first and then stab the ball. I guess this acts as a glue to hold it, making sure it doesn't move. Look at that! Of course, I have to add the iconic white sprinkles right on top. Our tiny little cake pop was a piece of cake to make. For our giant supersized cake pop, I think I'm gonna have to work backwards and just dunk it in this bowl, roll it around first, and then put our stick in. The cake pop is so big. Oh my gosh, I can't even turn it. But it's also kind of cold, so the candy coating is just kind of freezing on the spot. Ay, ay, ay. For our lollipop stick, I have this foot-long skewer that hopefully will hold. I don't know. I probably need like 10 of these. Now the biggest challenge is to remove it from this bowl. Can we do it in one piece without it breaking? Oh no. I saw someone show us if you add a little dollop where you're gonna put the cake pop down, this helps it from spreading, whatever that means. Why? Now I have to try to cover up the holes that I made with my fingers, and hopefully it doesn't ruin it. The candy coating is starting to set, so now I have to add my sprinkles somehow. I've got giant size pearls. Oh no, it's starting to harden. We're just gonna do this. My little hack to make it round and smooth at the bottom. But now the biggest challenge will be, can I pick it up like a normal cake pop? 1, 2, 3. Ah! I did it! Whoa, 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 whoa. Does it count? I think I did it! Oh, fail. That's $100 for you right there. It tastes great. For the cake pop alone, 9 out of 10. One of these luxurious chocolate bars can cost up to $50. It's regular size, but wrapped in gold. Feastables could never. It's even got the colorful streaks. Inside is filled with this luxurious pistachio phyllo shredded dough mixture. It's good, but I'm not getting enough filling in this one, which is where it's at. So let's supersize it. This is the dough filling with some pistachio. I'll work on that later. But first, let's chop our chocolate. This, my friend, is the largest chocolate bar I could find, and we're using 2 of them. That is a lot of chocolate. This recipe better not fail. But now I'm gonna transfer it to my bowl, and then we're gonna melt it. So while this is melting and it's gonna take a while, I'm gonna work on my chocolate mold, and we're gonna DIY this. To mimic the grooves of our Dubai chocolate bar, I'm gonna use skewers. I need to tape it down so it doesn't move. And then to make the little side ones, we're just gonna cut. It's not super perfect, but that's okay. I'm gonna add 3 per side, and that looks pretty good. But obviously I can't pour the chocolate over tape and sticks, so I'm gonna have to cover this. Actually, this is a good idea because it's gonna help me lift the chocolate bar out much easier. Now the thing is, can I make it nice and smooth? Otherwise, it's gonna have its own design. No wrinkles. Our chocolate is still not quite ready yet, so I thought now would be a good time to make our squiggly design on the Dubai chocolate. I thought it would be more on brand to do pink and white. Matchy matchy. Okay, but now I guess I'm just gonna do like streaks, just using white chocolate. And then our candy melt from earlier, the cake pop, comes in handy again. Mine are more like splotches. Okay, now let's finish our chocolate, and I'm pretty much just trying to temper it all in one bowl. Let's see if that works. Because it already reached the temperature, and now I'm just gonna seed it nice and melty. Okay, now I have to pour this chocolate mixture in cleanly so it doesn't mess up my design. Now I have to make sure that I have enough for the sides and the back of the chocolate too. Okay, I covered all the design. I think we're good. So while our chocolate sets, now it's time to make that pistachio crunchy phyllo dough filling. Believe it or not, this is shredded phyllo dough, and it's supposed to be super crunchy when you toast it up. So I'm gonna add some butter into my pan, melt it, and then we're gonna stir fry our phyllo dough. I'm using a whole box here. There's like a pound of this, and I really wonder if I have enough butter in here to make it like toasty. And then I'm just gonna break it up and just tear it. Feels like hair. I feel like this should be enough for the filling, I hope. Okay, the bottom is getting nice and toasty. Right now, it just looks like a giant ball of fur. Okay, it shrinks down quite a bit, so I'm actually gonna add 1 more handful. Okay, while we're at it, I'm gonna add more butter too. Okay, so I had to cook this down so it's nice and crispy. It's not really there yet. I'd need probably a couple more minutes before I add in the pistachio cream. I have like a pound of this right here. This is the good stuff. Better than Nutella, I think. Hopefully I have enough. Our chocolate has set, but I did not tape this very well, and so this corner kind of sunk in. But now I have to add this in. Mine is definitely not as gooey as theirs. It's still a little warm, so I hope it doesn't ruin the bottom chocolate layer. I'm gonna try to make a little edge here. Okay, now our last layer to cover it with more chocolate. Hopefully I have enough. That's just been the challenge of this whole giant experiment. Please work. I literally have to scrape down everything that's left in this bowl. This is as good as it's gonna get. Now I'm gonna let it set, and then we'll do the final reveal. I didn't forget to make the tiny Dubai chocolate. I mean, it's the same steps, except a little bit easier. It's looking pretty perfect. Oh no! I had a pink design and it got covered. But otherwise, the sides locked in. It does give me hope for our giant one, which is the true test. Wow! Okay, so we have the grooves. My saran wrap stuck in between the layers and I can't quite get it off. Wow. Let's see how it breaks. Whoa! That was pretty satisfying. I'm just gonna try the middle part. It's good, but something about making it giant made it lose its like creaminess. I feel like I didn't get enough of the pistachio butter, so it's not like creamy like this one. Mine has plastic, ugly shape. It doesn't taste as good as this one. I'm gonna call this a fail. And you win a prize. I'll have all the rules listed in the description box below. But if you like this video, go watch me test TikTok's most viewed desserts.